Okay, everybody. So first things first, I hope you appreciate the new haircut. It is, while not quite neffed up to its full magnificence, which it will be with the aid of various forms of styling putty and clay and chutney and everything else that people put in their hair. It is, however, an improvement from what I had before. Crikey, what's going on out there? It must be Diwali. Yeah, so anyway, here I am with slightly neater hair, and I'm just going to make a very quick video about muting, because people have said to me, oh yeah, nice video and everything, but your guitar is, you've got a lot of open strings ringing, which is, I think, I haven't really played today, so my playing will probably be awful, but anyway, it'll be good enough to demonstrate this. The problem is, of course, is that when I play gypsy style picking, I'm just going to turn slightly so you can see, but my arm and hand will be in that position, and they never go from there really, they never come down, that never happens. Whereas most electric guitar players are used to playing around here, okay, with their hand either on the bridge like this, or maybe I used to play with it sort of anchored onto the, almost onto the neck pickup on my old bridge pickup, depending on my old arch top. So this is not something that is part of the gypsy jazz technique, and I think like people are used to hearing muting now. So for example, if I play an arpeggio or a scale or something, let's play an arpeggio. I actually hit an open string there, but even if I don't, see, I told you my playing would be awful, but you get the idea, and that is just ringing out. So you've got harmonics, and this isn't necessarily just the reason, sort of just caused by an inaccurate or sloppy technique. I didn't hear any bad notes there. It's just that it just rings, right? And the reason why it rings is because those strings are vibrating sympathetically with the pitches. If I play it in B flat, though, you'll notice that it's less of a problem. Well, actually, there's quite a bit of a problem there. I would say it's probably D and G. Maybe an F. Again, yeah, even in those flat keys actually. What about D flat? Can we get away with D flat? There's always something in one of the keys with ringing strings, so even if we're not in the sort of stock kind of sharp keys typical to the guitar like G and A and E, we still get ringing open strings. So this might offend and annoy some people who are used to hearing guitar in a control sort of way. So if I play as an electric sort of stylist, you would probably play like that, with my hand in the muting position. But obviously the problem with that is that you get far less sound if I do. So I think, for me, it's like a perceptual thing. Like, if you were a classical guitarist, you would play, everything would be on open strings as much as possible, I guess, and you would be trying to produce as much sound out of the instrument as possible. And it's kind of the same with the Machiavelli, because you're playing in a band with, maybe you have like double bass, maybe a rhythm guitar, violin, which is quite a loud instrument, violin, quite loud and penetrating in the upper range. The guitar has to have all help it can get, and really, I've never sort of played on a gypsy jazz gig or anything like that and thought, oh my goodness, the strings are ringing out, this is a real problem. Usually all that stuff gets kind of drowned out by the rhythm section, even if you're amplified. However, it is a bit of a problem when it comes to electric guitar. So for electric guitar, I will probably swap to a lower hand position like this, for example. And I notice this is what Borelli Legren does when he plays kind of more electrically, when he plays like his Yamaha Pacifica that he's playing at the moment on one of his arch tops. Play with his hand in a lower position and but use broadly speaking the same technique. And as we know from, if you've been following Troy Grady's videos on the subject, actually the rest stroke picking thing is entirely applicable in this position as well. And it's in fact used by people like Eric Johnson and people like that to sort of play their stuff, even though it's very stylistically very different. The general approach is similar. The difference is that they're muting. They're putting their hand nearer the guitar body rather than having it up like that in order to get the most sound. So for me, it's just a difference in value systems. When I play acoustic, I want as much sound as possible because I'm going to be lost anyway. And in this practice room, because it's just me and the guitar, it's noticeable. You know, you can hear it. But you're not really going to hear that when there's bass going boom, 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 or something, you know, underneath, or a snare drum even maybe, you know, or certainly not with a rhythm guitar. That's not going to be a problem. Sometimes if I'm playing with a compressed sound or the amp is turned up a bit and you get compression with a small amp like a AER Alpha 40 watt amp or whatever, then that will sometimes be something I want to fix. If I do want to fix it, it's quite easy. Just put your hand on the guitar, or if you don't want to do that, you can put your knuckles down. Now I notice like Joe Pass uses a similar technique, and his sort of thing is that he never leaves a gap. So if he plays a run, you know, which kind of takes care of. I mean, that wasn't really an impression of Joe Pass's style. I'm just doing the same sort of thing he'd do, in the sense that I'm playing a line and then I'm playing some chords. Joe might use fingerstyle more, or he might use pick style, depending on what he was doing. But the overall approach is the same. Now, there are perhaps some ways to limit the amount of noise you get through accurate fretting. But you're always going to have that problem. Another way of doing it might be to have your thumb, because you will still get resonant sympathetic strings. You can also play like that, you know, and mute like that with your fretting hand, which is probably quite a valid way of doing it. You're still going to get some sympathetic vibrations, but you can kind of train yourself to kind of take care of that with your fretting hand, you know. But I have to say, on the whole, this is not, you know, in the thumb over kind of 3-finger technique is quite authentic for gypsy jazz playing, but a lot of guys use that, and perhaps that's a good thing for you to do. If you find this stuff bothersome in the practice room, then those might be ways you can take care of it. Personally, I don't have a problem with it, and I don't think I ever really have in a performing situation. And I think Tucker Andrus, I think it was, said something like, you know, you sort of learn that what sounds great in the bedroom can sound crap on stage, and vice versa. I don't know if he used exactly those words, but that's kind of an important point. You know, if you're a bedroom guitarist, certain things will bother you, certain sounds will be better. Like the classic one is like most players would use more treble and bass if they were practicing in their own room. Probably for jazz guitarists, you just roll off all the treble, have loads of bass maybe. But when you try that with a band, you'll find that your guitar just doesn't cut through. So you need more mid-range, you know, and there's a classic one. There's all these sorts of things which, you know, might seem a problem in the practice room, but actually when you're out there on stage, it's completely different environment, and you end up playing differently. So I think that's where my playing's coming from. And also the fact that, you know, the guitar is not naturally a legato instrument. It's quite nice to have these sort of things which can help you, you know. I think about the ends of the notes. You know, they're muting at a point which seems musically correct. And the other thing being that, of course, electric guitarists are coming from the point of view of using distortion. And of course, if you use distortion without muting properly, then all the notes sound very messy indeed. This is not a problem if you're playing acoustically. It's not really a problem if you're playing, with an electric guitar. You can let the notes run together a little bit and it will sound nice, So I think it's really about perception. This is not something that particularly bothers me on the acoustic guitar, certainly not. So I just feel like you want all that, even if you're playing gypsy jazz, right? And then I can always just stop that sound. So I kind of like that. It's almost like having reverb, maybe. Anyway, hope that answers some queries people had. Basically, basically it's not really a huge worry to me. But I can kind of understand why it is to some people who are perhaps used to a more controlled sound. Anyway, I hope that answers some of your questions about that kind of thing. Thanks for watching.